Sorry. Okay, hello again. This is our second video on the page 3. Here we are, Kohlberg, the bottom. Okay, this is going to be stages 4, 5, and 6, what are called post-conventional. Conventional, post-conventional. Don't worry about this term. Sorry, I shouldn't have said it. But again, here's the story. Your wife is sick. The husband, there's a drug that is sold, but it's too much for him to afford, so he steals the drug. The question being again, should he steal the drug, and most importantly, why or why not? Okay, so we move on to our stages here. Our first 3 stages, if you remember, avoidance of punishment, what's it called? I forget the name of it. It's the one where you make a deal, basically. Instrumentalism exchange. And then third was good boy, good girl. So our 4th stage, and this is the one that's most common for adults to be in Kohlberg's finding, is what's called the law and order stage. Okay, stealing is against the law. Okay. Now, having said that, if you had a law that said you're not allowed to charge over $10,000 for a dose of drugs, and the guy tries to charge you $50,000, then he's breaking the law, and in theory, it'd be okay to steal it. You're kind of weighing one law against another. Okay, but in most cases, stealing is against the law, so I'm not going to steal. But your wife will die. I know, but stealing is against the law, and they can't get past that. Because the argument is if everybody steals and takes what they want, well, society falls apart and we lead to chaos. And, any time any of you have ever read or seen any kind of post-apocalyptic Maze Runner, Hunger Games, I forget the one where they're fighting Triss and 4 and all that stuff. Insurgent, those kind of things, those rules kind of fall apart and people take what they want and the strong survive and so on. You don't want that, so you need to avoid chaos by following the law. Okay, that's number 4. Okay, number 5, which get into the higher levels, if you will, is something called the social contract level. And here, where you take into account not just the right of me and my wife, but the rights of others and the whole community. Is the community benefiting from me stealing? Meaning, is this guy taking advantage of the situation? We think about, you guys that might know this, a few years ago, there was a guy who got in trouble, if you will. He got in trouble for jacking up prices on EpiPens. If you know what an EpiPen is, people have allergies, like bee stings and stuff. This little pen, inject, boom. And he raised the price just because he could. And, is that ethical? Probably not. Should it be legal is another matter. Okay, so basically here, you're looking at the rights of others, the community. If the community and others benefit, and I don't mean just the wife, it's just benefit in general, then it's okay to take the drug. Because you got to take this beyond just stealing the drug, all kinds of behaviors here. And if the community and others do not benefit, their rights overweigh the right of the druggist, if that makes sense, the pharmacist. Okay? For those of you that are Star Trek people, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one, which, could be used to justify lots of things, good and bad, I suppose. And again, the pharmacist has no right to charge so much, so therefore we should be able to take the drug or force him to charge less. When you think about things like the vaccine, which is going to be free for everybody, but if companies started charging too much, would it be right for society to say you can only charge so much, or we're going to just take your property and give it away? Whole nother argument. Okay, our final stage, and one that is very, very rare, probably for the good, you'll see why in a minute, is called the principled conscience stage. Okay, and here is where a person uses one's own standard of justice. I don't care what society says. I don't care what the community needs. I don't care what the rights of others are. I don't care what the law is. If it's okay with me, I will steal it. And I'm willing to accept the consequences. If it is not okay with me, then I will not. Now, you can see that if you're being very selfless. I want to save my wife's life. It's worth me going to jail. I don't care what happens. I don't care if I'm outcast. I don't care if I'm arrested and so on. But not in Kohlberg so much, but other people have replicated this study. This is where you tend to see psychopaths. We haven't really talked about psychopaths yet, but basically one of those is, I'll do what I want because I am above everybody else. So you could have a problem there. In theory, though, and if you read, I just said what it's written right there, but they apply this universally. So in other words, and I'll put the video back in a second, I would steal the drug from my wife and go to jail. I would also steal the drug from my brother and go to jail. I would also steal the drug for anybody, because the life in my own standard of justice is more important than my freedom. So I would steal it for, my mortal enemy. I would steal it for a terrorist. I would steal it for a child molester who molested my child. And you can see why that's not necessarily desirable, nor is it very, very likely. Would you go to prison for life to save somebody's life that you hate? Think about that question right there. And, some say yes, most people say no, and some might say yes, and when it comes right down to it, well, excuses, which is fine. So 4, 5, 6, okay, pretty quick there. Any questions you have on this, you guys? We'll have a chance to revisit. I'm not going to just here are the notes and we're going to test. But I want to get you this. And I do want to test next week, and this goes for the seniors as well. So if you have questions, let me know, email or otherwise. Otherwise, I will see you whenever. And if you're a junior, good luck on the I-steps. See you.